Welcome, everyone, to the It's All Related podcast. Today we have special guests. I don't know how often we're going to have guests, but hopefully we'll have a bunch of guests in the future. But today, our guests are Jenna and Craig. And if you have been following me through the years, you may recognize both their names. Jenna was my producing partner for many, many years, and Craig was my sound guru on films. And they happen to be in Austin because they're road tripping, not even road tripping, just living nomadically with car and trailer and just seeing the whole of the United States. So they were in Austin, and we met over the weekend to catch up and thought, well, what the hell? We film and record podcasts on Monday. So I thought, come on down. And Jenna and I have been, we've done podcasts in the past. And I actually looked up film method over the weekend because I don't even remember what I used to say. And they're still on iTunes, unlike this podcast, which we still have to get on iTunes. So anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
And we are actually going to try something new today. So if we go long, we're going to break this up. And let me.
We might go long.
We're gonna.
Andrew and I
go
tend
long.
to talk a lot.
So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a stopwatch here because we do realize that our last episode we went almost for 2 hours, and
the intent was 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So
That's impressive.
We are going to possibly break this up, and we're going to break this up also so that we can give you video for the first time. So, hi everyone.
Thanks for the warning. You know we're camping, right? So there's not.
It's all good. So how are things?
Things are good. So excited to be here. It's pretty cool. We've been on the road now for 4 months and 2 days. And literally, thanks for the warning, because the bathroom was closed this morning at the campground.
Yeah.
For cleaning. So yeah, there was no face washing or anything that occurred. It was just like, throw your clothes on and go. See Andrew. But yeah, it's fun. We're in 64 square feet of living space. So it's pretty tight, but we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to see some really cool places. Austin is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I like it here. It's like a little mini LA, which is my heart. I am missing Los Angeles, that's for sure.
I always felt that Austin felt a little bit, not like LA, but it feels like Burbank, Silver Lake, Echo Park E.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not...
Which is my part of LA.
Right, and it's my part too, so I like that about it very much.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay.
What's your favorite part?
My favorite part
of Austin? Yeah. Because you're relatively new here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Austin
more than 2 days.
Several times, yeah. Honestly, I like the pace. It's fast enough, but not stupid.
Unless you're driving.
People drive slow here.
No. No, Andrew.
They don't drive slow here.
No.
They do not. It's like, get to the speed limit in half a second or you're going to get
that's because the
run off the road.
The on-ramps and the off-ramps in Austin are ridiculous. They're about the size of a Post-it note. So I guess my car can just get there faster.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're pulling a trailer, you really realize how fast people accelerate.
Well, aren't trailer laws, don't you have to keep it below the speed limit for
In
trailer?
California, 55 was max, but other states don't really have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think Texas, if you can go.
I know. Get it done.
I remember seeing this. I see the signs in Texas, no semi-trucks in the left lane, and they're always in the left lane.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is just a suggestion.
Right. It's really interesting, though. I think it was Louisiana where they didn't have speed limit signs. They had speed minimum signs.
Really?
On this certain stretch of 35. Was it Louisiana? I feel like that's where it was.
I think so.
And so, of course, I'm used to seeing speed limit and it says 45. And I'm like, 45 is the speed limit, babe. Slow down. And then I'm like, oh, no, that's the minimum. Okay.
They do minimum here. And I know when
They
you
usually show both.
you get 70.
This was the only place I've ever seen that only showed the minimum.
I know there's some stretches of road out in West Texas where there's nothing, where
It's like sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Speed limit's
We
what,
know you're
80,
not going to stay around.
Speed limit's 80, 85.
Oh my God.
Speed limit.
Oh my God.
They're like, get the hell out. We know that you're just
Wow.
white knuckling it and just drinking Red Bull because you've got 2 days of nothing.
Wow.
Huh.
That's crazy.
It's amazing to me, like as big as Texas is, because we just drove to like St. Louis, the Ozark area for a job. Going north south in Texas, you can get it. You're out of Texas in like 3 hours from Austin. Like,
oh, really?
You go. It's like 3 hours to Dallas, and then half an hour from Dallas to Oklahoma. And you're out of Texas. But moving here from California or moving here from anywhere where you have to go through West Texas, you feel like you're in West Texas for a week and a half. I don't get it. Like you're out of Texas north south in 3 hours any direction. But if you're going east west,
It's the opposite of
good
California.
night.
It took me 12 hours from the New Mexico border to Austin.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
And it's
crazy.
just- yeah, you just white knuckling it the whole time, just going, God, is this almost over?
And is it all desert?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know what the
basically
terrain is.
the Vegas to California, just flat and nothing.
Yeah.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's so cool to be traveling around and just seeing all the different landscape
Yeah.
has been really interesting.
Yeah.
Really? Is there really different landscape?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sorry, like,
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. With
It
that.
is pretty crazy. Like we were just in
Florida.
Florida. Florida's
okay, well, Florida is its own special ecosystem.
true.
Like,
What'd you think of Florida? It wasn't your first time in Florida, was it?
In a long time. I mean, I
yeah.
haven't been there for really long.
One of our first dates was Miami,
Yeah.
but other than that, I don't. And I'd been to Orlando for Disney World, but
Yeah.
I'd never been to Florida and travel around, and I don't think I'll go back.
Yeah.
I just
Key
didn't
West
dig it.
is
Key West is
like
amazing.
Caribbean, and then Everglades is just bugs, and then, and then
And
obviously
then
the coast.
northern
And
Florida.
in the middle of
is-
Florida is just all agricultural.
yeah, it's really interesting.
well, I mean, I remember when I moved to LA, LA's a big city and all of this, and I thought, oh my God, like this is what all of California is like. You go like an hour north and it's Kansas.
Right? Yeah.
So, I know that there are some really interesting, I mean, we've got amazing scenic venues, if you will, in the U.S., but a lot of it is Kansas.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. Yes. It was pretty brutal driving through Wyoming because it was wintertime-ish. And so I imagine during the summer it's really pretty, but in the winter it's just gray and windy and rocky. And so that was kind of,
You didn't like it so much,
I
but I thought
didn't.
it was kind of cool just because it was a little bit different than other
Yeah.
areas. But
You took up through Wyoming to get to like Minnesota.
yeah, so we went
Like through the
Northern
Dakotas
California.
and stuff?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, hello, we went to Wall Drug and the Corn Palace, which is amazing. Guys, seriously, if you've never been to the Corn Palace, it's kind of cool because do you know what it is?
No.
It's this building that they do a different mural
Yep.
mural theme out of only corn on the outside every year.
corn cobs.
Husks.
Yeah,
Husks
corn cobs.
and-
Like, you know how you'd have different colored corn?
Yeah.
You'll have like the rust color and the yellow, obviously, and
So it's
whatever.
almost
Yeah.
like a big picture made of all those tiny pictures.
Yeah.
But instead of pictures, it's corn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like, I mean, it's
and they're
this
big, so
artist.
it's the whole corn husk. So they just like we saw them not staple gunning, but
Yeah, no, they were staple
staple gunning, or
Yeah.
just putting
It's pretty cool.
rivets into the corn and making this picture of like this was
This year was weather.
So there was a big
was
picture
a
of a tornado and rain or whatever. I don't remember.
I don't
And it's like
remember.
easy to make out what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool because here's this artist back in the day who can't afford paint or canvas or whatever, and he used what he had to create these murals. And it was corn because it's, the Dakotas, that's where the corn is.
Well, it goes from the border of Canada
Yeah.
all the way down to about North Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just corn.
Yeah, I think that's been what for me has been the most interesting is like we've done a lot of travel before on the West Coast, not even only California on the West, and then like through the Midwest because that's where we are both from, and that's pretty much what you're saying. It's all just kind of corn and flat and whatnot, but driving the routes that we've driven so far, it's been really cool. Like going through Savannah. Have you been to Savannah?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
So beautiful, and it's got all the Spanish moss, and the trees are really neat. But like, there's so much familiarity where you're like, oh, this looks like Minnesota, and then you see something that isn't at all part of that kind of landscape, and it just throws you off a little. But it's been really cool.
Yeah, because we don't have any kind of trees with the Spanish moss in California or Minnesota or Ohio or anything.
That's the prettiest, I think.
So yeah, it's really, has the creepy kind of vibe to it with all the dangly, moss hanging down. It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, so I recommend it. If you can get out and get on the road and do some road tripping, it's pretty cool.
Okay, you recommend road tripping. You recommend living your entire life confined to 64 square feet.
It's definitely challenging, and it takes, I think, a certain kind of mindset that I lose often, where I'm like, I need a hotel room right now. Like, if I don't get a shower and a chair, I'm gonna lose my but then we just do that. We'll go and we'll stay in a hotel and readjust.
Or bed and breakfast, which is nicer, or Airbnb even. In Memphis, we stayed at Airbnb, and you get the feeling that you're home,
right?
And someone else's home, but you get to cook or whatever.
Yeah, I think the thing that's been the neatest is when we do that, I miss the trailer. And I'm like, I want to go home, meaning I want to go back on the road and be in the trailer, which is something I never thought would. I'm a total city girl. I don't know what I'm doing camping, let's be honest.
So what kicked it off, or what made you guys decide to take the plunge and
Your
go?
story.
Well, short version is that we'd always talked about it. We've always, ever since we met almost 20 years ago, it's been on our bucket list. And
To just travel the U.S.
to take a
Cross-country trip
Cross-country trip.
specifically, yeah.
I don't know if it was ever for a year. I think
but
that
just to do it, go from end to end or whatever.
yeah. And then 2 years ago, something really tragic happened, and it was that moment of life is too short. What are we doing? And so I literally came home and I was like, life is too short. What are we doing? What if you could do anything? What would you do? And he said, well, we always talked about doing a road trip. And I'm like, okay, so let's figure out how to make that happen. And then it took 2 years of planning, but we're doing it, So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I think that people often think that we saved up a whole bunch of money and we're out on the road, not working, but we're actually working, which is cool. So that was part of the planning too, was trying to figure out how we could keep our lives going, and not completely blow off our careers for a year and not wait until we retired and not, do all of these things that you traditionally do. So part of the planning was, okay, we want it to look like this. How do we make this happen?
And you guys you're really doing this for yourselves. This is not part of some YouTube blog, whatever project.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been blogging, but I've been going back and forth on it because it honestly has been taking me out of the living part, where I realize I'm doing things just so that I can blog about it instead of doing things because I want to be doing them. So I go back and forth with the blog. We actually got approached by a production company that wanted to do a reality show, and I'm so glad that we didn't, even though it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, because there's so many times where this should have been documented somehow. Yeah. This is just ridiculous stuff that happens.
The first weekend we were out, our battery died the first night in our trailer, so we woke up with no electricity, no way to cook. We were just what are we doing? Thank goodness we were right outside Vegas, so it wasn't like we were in the middle of, some desolate forest. But it turned out that there were, because we just bought the trailer, it's brand new, and so we hadn't even been able to take it out for a weekend before we decided we're going to go for a whole dang year.
So definitely working out the kinks of,
Yeah.
what makes what function, and, when this happens, what do we do?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It turned out that the fuses were in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And so we just kept blowing fuses, but we've never even owned a house, so we literally don't know what we're doing. And so figuring out that kind of stuff, and then it turned out that the wires on the solar panel were crossed, so that took like a week and a half to figure out, why is it that our battery's not charging? We're in California, there's plenty of sun, This shouldn't be this way.
So, yeah, with that we had to take to a mechanic, and they just, traced the wires and figured that out. But,
Yeah.
it's frustrating when you're like, this should just be working.
Sun panel power.
Right, exactly. It's called solar power. It's what it's supposed to do. But the company that we got the teardrop from was really so helpful.
And you had that made, like you built it or customized it? Or?
No, we bought it from New Camp, which is a company out of Ohio, and we bought it through American RV, which is a company in California. And they've both been just awesome. But it got ordered because we had to have custom color.
Ah, gotcha.
Because that's how we roll.
If you're gonna do it.
Plus, we customize the solar panel. Like, there's add-ons that you can get, and you can get an add-on generator, which we got. I mean, we got pretty much everything that you could get because wanted all the conveniences that
Were possible.
were possible since we're going for such a long time. But the solar panels they had put on at the manufacturer, and so everything was from the manufacturer. But
Yeah, so we couldn't buy it in the showroom because
Right.
of those extra things.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, what is your cost of living on the road? Like, what does that look like?
Well, we have bills that we have to pay still, normal bills from when we were just living in an apartment. So those are still those. But the cost of actually living like on the road, if you
Groceries
didn't
and-
have bills and stuff, I would say $1,500 a month average.
That's gas and
Gas
insurance
and
groceries
campsites.
and campsites, lodging, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, just so that anyone listening who might be like, oh, maybe this is a viable way, teardrops, tiny house or whatever. Your trailer, you finance it, finance the car? Because you're
We
driving a whole new car.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
We had to get a car that would tow the trailer.
Okay. And
So-
it's a Jeep.
Jeep Renegade. We love it. But it only tows the size of trailer we have. It's only a 1,500 pound tow capacity, or 2,500.
2,500.
And the trailer itself is 1,500 dry.
Okay.
And so you just have to, I'm saying that to anybody who is interested in doing this, like do your research on the tow vehicle and what the trailer
Yeah.
tow capacity is.
Because obviously,
I
like, if you're buying a
didn't.
tiny house, you gotta have like a Ford 350 or
Yeah,
something.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew's got this look on his face like, duh, Jenna. And I'm like, Andrew, no, we didn't. That's why we had the
pull
little
that crap
tiny
behind a
teardrops.
Civic.
I know. I was like, I got my Beetle. So we
Financing-
financed the Jeep,
Jeep.
but the trailer is cash. You have to pay for it.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get like trailer loans, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
but I think this one's so small, it's not, maybe the bank probably wouldn't,
Right. Okay.
but I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're 4 months in.
4 months in.
If you could roll back, would you start it? Would you still do
Oh,
it?
wow. No one's asked us that.
You're only 4 months into a year experiment. If you could roll back 4 months ago, would future you or now you go back to past you and say, no, you're good. You're good. Go camping one time, but come back to the.
Right.
I mean, I know.
You can go for a week.
I know what my answer
Go.
is. I would say do it a different time of the year because a lot of our time is spent in the South just because it's warm and it's convenient to be in a warm climate when we're doing this. So I would just start in the summer and see how far we get. If we get through the winter and or just want to go back, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, summer months for sure.
Yeah.
I would start then.
And the reason he's saying that, if I can clarify,
Sure, yeah.
is because we've spent so much time in the Midwest and I should rewind. Our main reason for doing this was to explore the East Coast because we'd never done it. We've never been to Maine, we've never been to Vermont, like all of those places. And so we're kind of sitting in the South with like being like, when is it going to get warm enough for us to go to the places that we wanted to go to?
But you did definitely want to go to Austin too.
Oh, yeah.
Key West.
Austin was on
the
our
list.
top 3 cities. Key West was on his top 3. I was like, it's like Venice Beach in California, so I would rather be in Los Angeles. But that's just me.
Do you have a different answer to that question?
I think mine is more on a personal level because that's what I do. I would say I went on this trip to kind of like, because it was something I always thought I wanted to do. And it was part of my identity growing up to be that kind of explorer, like, hey, where are we going to be? Who are we? That kind of thing. And I guess this trip has proven to me that I didn't realize that I'm a total city girl, Los Angelino. Like, the more I'm on the road, the more I realize I don't need to be on the road in order to find myself because I already found myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's been my realization in the last few weeks. It might change in a month because that's what this trip is doing. It's a constant, like, challenge, personal challenge kind of thing where, like, I'll wake up one day and be like, what the heck are we doing here? Man, I hate everything. And then the next day I'm like, woo, we're in Austin. This is the best. So to answer your question in short, I would do it again, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Would you do the same combination vehicle trailer? Would you get like an old school bus, convert it?
Well, so we thought about that, but then we wanted the whole trip is more about finding cool cities like Austin to camp out in for a couple weeks so that we can explore the city. Because we're not really campers. You know what I mean? And so, yes, part of it is being out in nature and doing the hiking and all of that, but it's more about the culture of that area, for me anyway. And so we wanted a vehicle that we could just drive around town in.
Gotcha.
And if we had a like old VW bus, which we definitely thought about doing, we would have to pack up camp every day in order to go into town to explore.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and there's also this, like, our trailer is considered a tent by size standards, so we can camp anywhere where bigger RVs can't. Like, there are certain national parks they can't go into. There are certain areas of the country that they're just not allowed because they're too big. So I'm definitely glad we went with the smaller trailer.
Yeah. And it's easier to tow. It's easier on gas mileage. It's just, smaller space, obviously, you give up that.
Yeah.
But just the ease of hitching it up and going, it's like so much easier because we see these others with bigger trailers even, and they're like, they have to do all this
Struggling.
stuff and,
Yeah, there's such a process.
emptying their toilets and all that kind of stuff. So for
Yeah.
us, it's just easier,
Yep, and we always get the campsite closest to the bathroom if we can.
So with this being a year-long experiment, and I know you just said things change week to week, month to month.
Minute to minute.
What do you hope? What's the end game for you guys at the end of a year? Return to California, move back into an apartment, condo, and then write about this? Forget it
Definitely
ever
writing
happened?
about this. No, right?
Block it from memory.
Maybe. It's gonna, like, you're probably gonna fall off your chair when I say this, but we don't actually know what the end game is. Which, for me, producer brain, is weird.
Right.
Like, we got out on the road and I lost it one day because I'm like, I think we just priced ourselves out of going back to LA. This is not cool. Like, what are we gonna do? We didn't even think about what we would be doing after.
Huh.
I didn't. Maybe Craig did.
I just thought we'd go back and, find a place and resume as usual.
So there you go. I hope that's the case because I really, definitely want to go back to LA. But then there's this weird like freedom that happens when you sell all of your stuff and you don't have to go back to anywhere. So there's been a lot of talk about Europe.
Yeah. Or even if we find a cool part of the country that we like and want to stay and we can keep our careers, whatever, we left it open as far as that is concerned, but we're discovering every day.
Notice his face. He's like, don't worry, babe. I mean, we're going to go back to Los Angeles at some point.
I mean, there definitely was talk of,
for sure.
We think we'll really like Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine even, or whatever, just different cities that we've heard about. Maybe we'll stay. You never know.
For 2 years maximum.
But
you might be running out of time with how much you can actually be in LA, whether you want to be there or not.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I've been out of LA now for, what?
6 years.
6 years? Yeah, I've been out for 6 years. In 6 years, you guys got water problems. It's never been able to not burn.
I know. It's all on fire.
The fire continues to get worse. You're running out of water.
Yeah.
At some point, either
Mother Nature may dictate whether or not we get to go back. But
yeah, or property could get real cheap.
Yeah.
No one's there.
I know. That's
That would be nice.
that would be really nice.
Because nothing can change the weather as far as your day-to-day 70-degree weather in your
What's it
ocean.
going to be like today? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It just is. I don't know why there's weathermen in LA.
To remind us of how lucky we are when we're in LA.
We're going to cut to Dallas rains. Did he even come in today? Yeah, it's nice. All right.
72, 72, 72, 72. Oh, there's a cloud. Cloud.
Well, yeah, there's a cloud. Everyone's coming to a grinding halt on the freeway. It might rain. And if it rains, we're all going to die.
Yeah, the apocalypse. Yeah, I love it. LA's so weird. Oh. Anyway, but yeah, we don't know. We're trying to play it by ear.
Cool.
Has there been a place that's been like surprising to you that you guys have visited so far that maybe you weren't expecting to enjoy that you ended up really liking, or vice versa? One that you're really excited about and that you're kind of like, ooh, this is not. Excuse me, this isn't what I expected.
I really liked Mobile, but we didn't do anything. We just stayed at a bed and breakfast.
That's true. We didn't really explore too much, but the people were super nice.
People were so nice there.
And it was a cool city. We didn't really know anything going into it, so we were just it was a stopover city. But the other way around,
I would have to say Memphis was kind of a surprise for me.
yeah.
I'd been there once with my parents on our way to Orlando for Disney World, and went to Graceland and all of that, but we didn't explore the city. Have you guys been to Memphis?
Just passing.
It's so awesome. Like we did the Sun Studio tour. Did you do that?
No, but I know of it.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that. I was not expecting how much I would like Memphis.
Yeah, and that's where we stayed in an Airbnb, which might have something to do with it. But we were comfy there. We stayed in a nice part of town, and we got to just drive around the city and explore lots of music. So we saw bands, just at the bar or restaurant down the street, and downtown, obviously, Beale Street.
Yeah. So I would say Memphis was a surprise. Other than that, I wouldn't say there were many surprises. We're definitely learning who our, quote, travel friends are, because we'll go to places that certain people will recommend, and I'll be like, what is this? And then we'll go to other places that other people recommend where I'm like, yeah, sweet. So it's really interesting because we're definitely not the normal tourists. Like, we want to go in where the culture is. And like in Austin last night, we were down, I don't even know where we were, but
Rainy Street.
It's so cool. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that I like to do, where you got live music, you've got really cool people, food trucks galore. Oh, by the way, I know this is on the podcast, but I have to ask you, what is the deal with brunch? Like,
what's the deal with brunch?
Literally every single place in Austin has some sort of brunch.
Brunch and queso. That's what Austin
and tacos.
Yeah, well,
breakfast tacos.
Yeah. I'll counter that with the brunch phenomenon's the same as the rosé wine phenomenon. It's the same thing. It's just.
But it's so very particular to Austin.
Yeah.
Like I have not.
LA had brunch.
No.
They had
People
brunch,
get
but every
down for
place,
brunch.
Every
place has brunch. Even
has
the,
like a big giant sign outside that says,
Well-
"We have brunch on Saturday and Sunday."
the thing that I got a kick out of was the Craft Pride, the bar that we went to by the pizza place.
Super cool.
Just beer. They have a brunch of just beer. So
They have beer brunch.
they have beer brunch.
You know, it's brunch may be the socially acceptable way to say day drinking.
I would totally
And in Texas,
agree with that. Apparently,
maybe we're just a town of day drinkers, but we don't want to be judged, so we call it brunch. I don't know.
Yeah, because the first coffee shop we stopped at, I'm so glad there are coffee shops. Did you know that there are cities in this wonderful country of ours that don't have coffee shops?
Like it's like not allowed.
Like they don't have coffee shops.
Like not
just
even
don't.
Starbucks.
No,
Like
nothing for 4 states.
nothing. What states? So I can know not to go there.
Yeah, so from California to Minnesota, you are going to have a really hard time finding coffee.
Unless you go to a Denny's
Or a McDonald's.
or something
Oh,
like
But
that.
like
So-
a true like
Thought
a
you're
Dunkin',
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
Dunkin'
but
Donuts,
no.
Starbucks, like none of that.
and no Apple stores
Yeah.
from Wyoming to Minnesota. Just so everybody's aware, don't break your phone like I did.
Best Buys,
I didn't see one.
because Best Buy has Apple stores in them. Most
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Maybe there was some, but we just
Maybe.
come with
But
I'll admit, I'm a bit of a snob sometimes, where I'll judge playfully. So, but I will judge the evolution of the town based on whether or not an Apple store hasn't found you fit to be here
yeah.
yet.
Right.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Spoiled. I'm sorry, you guys listening.
That is first world problems. right
100% first world problems.
A notch down from that for us is Trader Joe's.
Oh, we will literally plan our routes.
Yeah.
Like, because Trader Joe's is the only place that I've been able to find the creamer I like. So, listen, when you are living in 64 square feet of living space, you need your creature comforts. If mine is coffee in the morning, I'm going to take it.
Wow.
But yeah, there
Not
are,
even Whole Foods.
if there's not a Trader Joe's, there's usually not a Whole Foods.
Yeah, true. Do we have a Trader Joe's in Austin?
You have
There's
4.
gotta be one.
Yeah.
I don't know where. I've never seen.
You have 4, Andrew.
Okay.
I have Googled,
Okay. We have 4 Trader Joe's.
I think. 4 or 6.
No, it was
They're
like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
It wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't.
I can't believe you haven't. We're going to talk after
I just,
about your
I do HEB.
disdain for Trader Joe's. Like, what's
I
wrong
don't
with
have
you?
a disdain for it. I just literally, when I left California, I thought I waved goodbye to Trader Joe's
You didn't.
because
Yeah,
there
really?
wasn't any in Nashville when I lived in Nashville. Now there's
Really?
one.
Yep.
We just built one,
I know. We shopped there before we went to
and
Memphis.
it was a big. I remember it being a big fight because they weren't going to move in until they would be granted the ability to sell wine
Yeah.
in their store, and in Nashville you can't do that.
Right.
So they literally, I believe, had to change the laws in Nashville in order for Trader Joe's to
Wow.
move
I don't know if
And
it
then,
was,
of course, they moved into an area with the worst parking.
in. Well, all of Nashville's got horrible parking.
Yeah, but all of Trader Joe's has horrible parking too.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
oh
like,
my god, the Trader Joe's in Silver Lake by my old place was like,
Oh, yeah.
it was like, here's a bike rack.
It's like a requirement.
Yeah.
Trader Joe's, like, where's the worst possible parking spot?
Well,
We'll build there.
We parked at Albertsons across the street and would walk across the street to Trader Joe's. And I'm
Sorry,
like,
Albertsons.
I think they planned this.
Probably. But it was across the street from the Bluebird. Remember?
Is that
in
where I'm at?
Nashville? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
was?
Like down about a block and a half,
Oh, yeah.
but across the
Oh,
street.
yeah. Super
yeah,
crap.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I remember that place, I was going to say, I don't know if it happened, I don't think it was Nashville, but there was another Trader Joe's that we went to that has a separate cash register and room for
That's
all their
Minnesota.
beer. and wine.
Minnesota
So they
has a
still
Trader
sell
Joe's. Yeah.
Trader Joe's wine and whatever they
But
supply.
it's like in a separate.
But
It's in
a
their
separate,
own
like,
business.
little building. Right, it's attached, but it's a
It's
separate doorway.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just sell alcohol with the rest of the food and be adults?
Yeah.
I know. It's a little
I'll
out of
never
control.
know, but like Texas has drive-through liquor stores,
So does Ohio.
but you still can't buy it on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah.
They'll let you literally buy booze while in your car, except on Sunday, because nothing makes sense anymore. Can't buy cars here on Sunday.
Are you serious?
That one I don't understand.
Car dealerships in Texas, same in Nashville, can't buy cars on Sunday.
That I don't understand.
All closed.
It's like the one day where everyone like is
Actually
likely
has
off.
the day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they close ridiculously early. Like car dealerships here during the week, they close at like 7. I'm like, who's getting off? Like, you're basically have to Mario Andretti the damn thing, get after work to get down there to do a test
Yeah.
drive. I'm like, what the hell?
That's weird.
You just have to take a day off of work to go buy a car.
Well,
guess
seeing as
so.
how it takes like 9 hours to do that nowadays.
Yeah.
Jeez,
It is a
Christmas.
little crazy.
Well, tell you what, we're going to end part 1 right there because we're being good boys and girls. 34 minutes.
Wow.
Perfect.
That's pretty good.
So that concludes part 1 with Jenna and Craig. Stay tuned for part 2, which is actually coming up immediately after this, but for people on YouTube and iTunes will be a whole separate episode, and we'll air that later. So anyway, thanks for listening to the It's All Related podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.